All right, everyone, welcome to this month's Super Saturday meeting. This month we've got Tim Baker coming back. He's so gracious to give us all these presentations, so we really welcome that. And this month he's talking about OpenCore Legacy Patcher, where you can take an old computer and get it to run more modern software. So I'll turn it over to Tim. And when you want to show whatever's on that screen, we'll just push this button here.
I'm ready to have you turn it to the keynote, and we'll get started here. So okay. First, I wanted to begin by saying, some of you may remember me from previous presentations. I've given a couple at the other facility. One of them was about building a Hackintosh, creating a Mac out of a PC computer. The second presentation I did was about emulation, where you take and run older software on your newer computer. Well, today we're going to do just the reverse. Today we're going to take an older computer, or excuse me, take an older computer and run newer or even the latest software. So to start off with, how many, I guess we can't see the screen, but I don't know if anybody can see our participants, but how many of you have a Mac that is 2017 or older? Okay, well, that's a pretty good.
Lots of raised hands.
Okay, that's a pretty good show of hands. So 2017 and older, all the way back to 2008, this piece of software that I came across because I love emulation and I love tinkering with computers, OpenCore Legacy Patcher. I'll start my little keynote here. If I can remember how to do that. Oh, first, it's not what you know, it's how well you use Google and YouTube. I regularly attend YouTube, what I call YouTube University, and I get obviously a lot from that. So my presentation is about OpenCore Legacy Patcher. You'll be happy that there's some really smart developers out there, because the people that created this, and I'll ask everyone if they use it towards the end of the presentation to actually contribute to their Open Collective website. So to begin, OpenCore Legacy Patcher. I just asked the question, do you have an old Mac? And if you do, let's learn how to bring it back to life. So Apple's yearly OS updates have slowly required more and more developer support for Apple's security features. So that's one of the things that, Apple pretty much has a built-in obsolescence. When you reach that 7-year limitation of being able to load the latest software, they want you to go buy a new Mac. Well, OpenCore Legacy Patcher is going to allow us to basically run that newer software on our older computer, but not really change the firmware and not actually change this, anything about your computer. So you can always revert it back to where you were, back to your older operating system. Before we get started, I wanted to show you one little piece of software, if I can, for any of you that just are curious how you can go out and, oh shucks, it's taking me to the website. I don't want to take it to the website. I want to go down here. Shuck, I'm doing this wrong already. There is a piece of software called Mist, and I'm always looking for older Mac OSs. So this is a piece of software that's available to you through GitHub, and I have the link for if anybody's interested. I don't know how long it's going to take for it to fetch these OSs. Actually, I'm on my hotspot, so hopefully it'll pop up here in just a second. If not, then I'll just go ahead and go. Okay, so here I don't know if y'all can see this or not. So here you start off with Sonoma at the top, Ventura, Monterey, Big Sur, Catalina, okay, Mojave, High Sierra, so forth and so on, all the way down the line. Through Mist, you can download those installers, which in the past have been relatively difficult to come across. Now, we won't use Mist when you're using OpenCore Legacy Patcher, but OpenCore Legacy Patcher will only fetch software from Big Sur to current. So if you all wanted to run a newer version of OS that is not available through OpenCore Legacy Patcher, then this would be the method that you could go and download an unsupported OS for OpenCore Legacy Patcher through MIST. So I'm going to continue here. So also, Apple deprecates their older technologies over time. So an older OS may not support the latest or greatest software. One of them being, I'm sure you have all noticed if you have 2017 or earlier Macs, that one of the first things you'll do is go to a bank website and it'll tell you that your web browser is out of, that your web browser is out of date. And so you can't access your bank. You can't, in this case, this one reads that I was unable to visit USA Today because I was using an older browser. So this is one of the things that OpenCore Legacy Patcher obviously will give you the path to do. So there are some excellent videos out there. This is basically how I learned. So if you just Google OpenCore Legacy Patcher, and on YouTube, and you can find these individuals that have very detailed videos of actually what I'm going to show you, and I pretty much plagiarized some of their videos here. But for the most part, this fellow's website on YouTube is called Definitive Mac Upgrade Guide. And he has two very good keynotes, of which I didn't want to show you there, but I added a link to that page. So I want it just to go to the next page. Oh, all right. Now, why is this not going to work for me?
You want a chair? I'll bring it up there.
No, I want to go to the next slide, but unfortunately without. There we go. Okay. So this explains kind of what OpenCore is. OpenCore is simply a bootloader, okay? It just bypasses the Apple's bootloader and applies a bootloader of its own called OpenCore. So this goes into the detail explaining what a bootloader is. And I don't know what my time is, but I don't know if you want to spend the time reading it for the most part. Pardon me? So for the most part, it's a bootstrap loader or boot manager is a small piece of software that is responsible for initializing and loading an operating system into the computer's main memory during the boot process. When a computer is powered on and restarted, the bootloader is one of the first pieces of code executed by the hardware. So the second paragraph here where it says OpenCore Legacy Patcher is a utility suite designed simply to simplify an OpenCore configuration for an older Mac with the intent to run newer OSs on unsupported software. So basically, it makes the process more streamlined rather than doing what I had to do back when I did the Hackintosh of writing a script and doing all this. I had to actually put together something in what they call Clover and create a bootloader back then to be able to run the Mac OS on a PC. This is actually a streamlined piece of software that'll allow you to create those configurations very simply. And the one thing that's very important about doing this, just follow the prompts. And as I go through my keynote here, if you just follow what the different screens provide you, it'll be successful, I guarantee you. So this is kind of what happens in your normal boot sequence. On the left side, I'm going to grab some water here, excuse me. There it is. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Now you know why Steve Jobs stood up on stage and drank so much water, because your throat gets dry after a while. So on the left side is how it normally happens. On the right side is where OpenCore slips into the equation and loads the bootloader and then loads the Mac OS. So right here, it gives that explanation. It does text injections, drivers, so forth and so on, and loads its configuration, and then hands the control over to the Mac OS. So where do you start? So again, here's another video that's provided for you through YouTube, Definitive Mac Upgrade Guide, how to install OpenCore Legacy Patcher in 5 minutes. So basically, if you're interested in doing this yourself, this would be an excellent guide, because I'm sure you're not going to, obviously remember my presentation. I guess you can go back and look at the recording. But so for the most part, what I've got here on the table is a Mac Mini 3,1. And I looked up that information by going to the Apple menu, selecting About This Mac, and then clicking on System Report. So this tells me basically I have a Intel Core 2 Duo, 2.26 gigahertz, and it's a Mac Mini 3,1, which basically is a 2009 machine. 2009, not 19, but 2009. So you can get additional information by using a program that I'm sure all of you probably have on your computers, I hope, or on your phone or iPad, called Mac Tracker, because this is a neat little piece of software that gives you all the insight about all of your devices. So what we're going to do, there's the information that Mac Tracker is giving me. Says it's a Mac Mini, late 2009, 3,1. And if you look closer, it says the maximum OS that I can run is El Capitan, basically 1011. So how far is that? Here you go. Here's El Capitan. You pass Sahara, High Sierra, Mojave, Catalina, Big Sur, and I loaded Monterey on this this late 2009 Mac Mini. So here you can see the About screen on the Mac Mini here. It says Mac Mini late 2009, and I'm running version 12.7.5 of Monterey. So you're bringing your old Mac back to a supported OS. So let's see. Well, I don't know if I guess I have time, but for the most part, I found this very interesting. This is Apple's own website showing you how many. Yeah, this actually explains the difference between obsolete and vintage. So vintage basically is 5 years and less than 7 years. Obsolete is beyond 7 years. So what you've got, obviously, if you got a 2017, you're basically have an obsolete Mac. So this list provided by Apple shows you just how many products are out there that Apple manufactures that are now vintage. And you can just scroll through here, and it's amazing how much stuff you don't realize how many things Apple has produced over the years that's now vintage. This goes back to, I think we've got, let me see what, well, that's just vintage. This is, so obsolete, this is iPod, obsolete, iPhone, iPad, and then the list just goes on and on and on, obviously. So this is basically just listing all the products that Apple has created that now they've, like I said, that planned obsolescence, they've made you go in and buy something new. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, yeah, it actually doesn't have the Newton. It just says Mac products.
Mac products only.
Yeah, it's pretty much Mac products that are vintage now, and then Mac products that are obsolete.
It wouldn't have like Apple II.
So it starts. I think it looks like it starts with the Apple I, and it does work its way through here. But anyhow, I don't want to waste a lot of time on that. I'm going to turn back to y'all can look that page up. Basically, that's a support article. It's entitled Obtaining Service for Your Apple Product After an Expired Warranty. And once again, Google is your best friend, or I can provide anybody links if they're interested in getting to that particular site. So this is the website that you would go to download OpenCore Legacy Patcher. It's Dortania, is actually how you say it. I've heard it said in the videos, Dortania, .github.io/OpenCore Legacy Patcher. The next site is the actual link that references all the changes that have been made to OpenCore Legacy Patcher, and it's kind of coincidental that just last week, they came out with a major update. They went from 1.4.3 to 1.5.0. This particular piece of software is advanced so much, and I think it's only been around, if I'm not mistaken, for about 3 years. And I've only been using it for probably maybe a year, and I've had great success with it. So here's a caveat. You should only download OpenCore from the genuine source. You don't want to go to Mac Update or any third-party website and try to download OpenCore. It's highly unrecommended that you go to the Dortania website via GitHub. So here was what I just said, a huge update. Basically, this is another individual that creates wonderful YouTube videos. His name, Mr. Macintosh, of all things, not Dr. Macintosh, but Mr. Macintosh. Once again, I subscribe to this YouTube, his YouTube site. He provides a ton, absolutely a ton of very in-depth YouTube videos on using OpenCore Legacy Patcher. This is basically the fellow that I used to learn how to use this software. So it requires, OpenCore Legacy Patcher requires at least Yosemite 10.10 or later to run, but there's another caveat. It requires El Capitan or later to make an installer for Ventura or later. So you're going to have to be running on that older Mac at least El Capitan to create an installer to upgrade whatever Mac you're interested in. Like your 2017, I think we'll have something greater than, obviously you can go up to, with the 2017, you can almost go to current. I think it stops at Ventura. I don't think you can upgrade to Sonoma if you have a 2017. So the patcher is designed to target Big Sur through Sonoma. So that's what I said earlier. There's only, basically the patcher will go out and fetch only those 4 OSs automatically through the patcher as you're creating the USB boot drive. So, and this is the other thing when I was talking about MIST, and finding even an older OS, if you're interested in have to have, like if you want 32-bit capability, you're going to want to maybe use OpenCore to install a 32-bit OS. So, you can run that 32-bit out-of-date piece of software, because the newer versions, obviously being 64-bit, that 32-bit software is not going to work anymore. So that's one of the reasons why I have several Macs that dual boot into an older piece of software, so I can run like some of my emulation software, because I have to have Mavericks to run 32-bit software. So USB drives are very cheap. You can get 3 32-gig USB 3 flash drives from Best Buy. I didn't get paid for this advertisement, for $17.49, which, it's, just, you can buy them from Amazon, Best Buy, whatever, but this is what you're going to need to get started. You're going to start off, you're going to need at least 32-gig USB flash drive to get started. So once you download the software and you install it on your Mac, this is the screen that it opens up to. Let me see if I can zoom in on it so I can get a better look at what it actually says. Oops, excuse me. Having trouble controlling my trackpad here. Okay, here we go. So for the most part, it's got a very simple interface. You can see at the upper left, it says build and install OpenCore, okay? And it tells you underneath it what that button means, and so forth and so on. One of the important buttons that you press, one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to find out what the hardware ID is for your Mac. Like I found out that this Mini that I was telling you is a 3,1. So the first thing that you do is you go to Settings, and I'll show it on the next screen. It actually shows you that, and you can see up above, right where it says underneath OpenCore Legacy Patcher. I also just recently tried to do this on a 2008 20-inch iMac, and for some reason, maybe there's something wrong with the machine. For some reason, I was unable. That's the first machine that I've come across that I was unable to install an assortment of OSs. The machine repeatedly failed, and that was an iMac 8,1 2008 iMac. So hopefully you won't be dealing with one of those. So on the next slide, here's basically when you press settings, this is what you'll see. You'll see all of those machine ID numbers pop up, and you'll basically select the machine ID of the, I don't think that I'm saying the proper term for what that's actually called, hardware ID, machine ID. And you know, it's in the, if I went back to that earlier slide, it's where you see when you do the about this Mac and you go to system report and you see that 3,1, that's the number that you're looking for. So for the most part, this was a demonstration that I had hoped to complete and put together. I was going to upgrade this 2008 iMac and bring it along and show you, but since I didn't have success with it, I brought my 2009 Mac Mini instead. So basically this slideshow is going to reflect creating the installer for an 8,1 Mac Mini. So model identifier, there you go. Thank you very much. Incorrect lingo on my behalf. So here's basically, once you select it, it gives you these choices here. You just go with the defaults. You don't, I didn't check or uncheck anything here. I just went with the default settings. And once again, I'm creating the USB drive to boot up my old Mac to install a newer OS. So back to this, you're going to press the create. Once you select the model, which is selected now, it says iMac 8,1, you would press the lower left button where it says create Mac OS installer. So you come up and you've got this next box, and it says, okay, do you want to use an existing installer that you've already downloaded? I mean, I've created so many, I've already got all of those downloaded, so I don't have to go to the download. I just go to existing. But you're going to want to start off with going to download a Mac installer. So the next slide basically shows you, okay, now once you download this installer, where do you want, or excuse me, this is actually the installers. Okay, so this is the installers that I have on board on my Mac. I'm sorry, it's not centered. But for the most part, I wanted to use Monterey or Ventura, which I've already downloaded. So you just basically select the installer that you want to use. And then it says, okay, where are you on I don't have my cursor, so I'm not sure why I'm not zooming in the middle of the screen. Sorry. So the next thing is you want to be careful when you do this. This is like I said, just pay attention to what you're doing. You'll be fine. Where you're going to want to put this, obviously, to build this installer, you don't want to use your main disk. So the first clue is you don't want to put it on your 2 terabyte main hard drive. You want to put it on that flash drive. So you're going to want to make sure that you look, and it says SanDisk, 61, gigabyte, whatever. You're going to make sure that you identify your flash drive correctly and don't install it to your main computer. So just, like I said, just pay attention, select the USB drive, move on to the next step, and it says, and it actually confirms, it says, are you sure you want to erase that SanDisk flash drive? And all your data that's currently on it will be lost, and so forth and so on. Everyone's encountered that before. So yes, we want to install, so we click yes, and we move on to the next step, where it's actually creating the installer, and I already had it downloaded. So what you're not seeing is actually, if you didn't download it, it would actually download the installer and then create the installer. So this takes about, it says 30 minutes for a slower USB drive. It hadn't taken me 30 minutes to do this, but basically you end up with a flash drive with about 14 gigs on it after you've created the installer. So it progresses along. I think that's where we are at 9 gigs. There's almost 13 gigs in there. Now it's actually verifying the installer to make sure that you downloaded a good copy, and now it's verifying the installer on the USB drive. And then it says, okay, here you go. You've successfully now created the installer. It says, installer, would you like to continue to install OpenCore to this disk? Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to just create the installer. I want to be able to move on through OpenCore. So I've picked the model through my settings, and I clicked yes, install to disk. And this is kind of what you see flowing across your screen, is it loads all these little patches and kex files and so forth and so on as it builds that custom installer. And this is the thing you used to have to do manually. So when they create this software, this is the automation that's put into it. They just make it so simple like the YouTube video says, 15 minutes, you can, you're on your way. So for the most part, that flips across the screen, continues to build your installer. Now it says, okay, where do you want to put that OpenCore? So once again, just pay attention. You want to put it on that SAN disk. You want to make sure you click disk 4, 61.5 gigabyte. Move on to the next slide. And then now, this is a very important step also, because now what it does is it actually will create an EFI partition on that flash drive, and you'll want to verify that by clicking the EFI partition on disk 4. And it says, now this is a really kind of a fun one here, because it says success. Now you can eject the drive, insert it into your iMac 8,1, reboot, hold down the option key, and select the OpenCore EFI option. So, I mean, that's spelled out for you very clearly of what you do. So, like I said, if you just follow the prompts, you'll be able to do this, I guarantee you. So we move on. Oh, sorry, that's the end of that particular slide. Let me move on. All right, so there's what it looks like for the most part. You boot it up with your USB drive, and, excuse me, I need to go back one. So you boot it up with your USB drive, and you make sure that you pick what it says. I mean, obviously it's got the logo there, so there's your clue right there. You can hold it. There's a way that you can continue to default it by holding down the. Actually, you're correct. You do have to hold down the option drive to bring up the boot lighter, as like it said in that previous prompt. That's a step that I didn't make clear. But yes, you put the drive in, you reboot your Mac, you hold down the option key, and you make sure you select the EFI boot. So select the one that's got the OpenCore Legacy Patcher logo there. And then you end up with installed OS Monterey, okay, Mac OS Monterey. So this was basically me trying to do it on the iMac. So you move on from that. Hello. All right. And now the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to erase your, excuse me, sorry. Hold on here. First thing you want to do is it's going to go to the setup screen, and it's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? Well, first thing you're going to want to do is, unless you want to do an in-place upgrade, which I would not recommend, I'd recommend that you just have a backup, have several backups of the machine that you're wanting to upgrade, because you're going to want to really, to make this work correctly and go more smoothly, you're going to want to wipe the drive. You're going to want to wipe your internal drive and reinitialize it using disk utility. So you move on from there, and you want to make sure that once disk utility pops up, you choose show all devices, like is up here in the upper left-hand corner. And now you're going to want to make sure that you pick the correct, I don't know why this is slowing down here. You want to make sure that you select the correct internal drive. Oh, excuse me. Dadgummit. I don't know why it's pausing. I apologize. So now you've actually selected the internal drive. You've told it to show all devices, and you're able to click the very top left internal drive, and then you'll click right where the mouse pointer is over to erase. All right. So now it's going to say, okay, you want to erase it, and now you get the opportunity to name it whatever you want. Macintosh HD, I sometimes put, if I replace it, I put SSD instead of HD. But it's APFS, GUID, the standard nowadays. And then you move on from there. And you click erase. Okay, there you go. So that's the next box you'll see is that it's erased, and after you wait a little bit, then it'll be completed. I'm sure you all have probably initialized drives, so you're probably familiar with all these steps. But for the most part, this is what you have to do to follow the process. So then the next thing is it goes back to the setup, and now you're going to want to install Monterey to that disk you just initialized, your internal. And you follow the prompts, and I'm sure you've all installed an OS, so you know that this is what is going to come up, and you just follow the prompts, hit continue, and then you got to, I don't know why there's a delay. So then you got to agree to everything, and make sure you scroll through this thing and spend the next hour reading all. No, you don't need to do that. Just click agree. So then you move on through that, and then you think you're done, and you got to click another agree. It's like, dang it, you want to make sure that I read that, okay? So I agree and agree and agree, and work your way through this. And then you want to pick, obviously, your internal disk, because this is where you want to put Monterey. You don't want to install it back to that flash drive. You want to put it onto your internal drive. So you select your internal drive and you hit continue. So then it begins the process. The fun begins. Goes through. Okay, your Mac's going to reboot at least 3 times. And this is what you want to see. You want to see the progress bar going across the bottom. It's going through the, how long it's going to take. And then it's going to reboot, and you're going to get another screen that's going to look very similar. And you're going to go down to maybe 3 minutes. And you're going to get the next screen down to less than a minute. It's generally less than an hour. But, it's kind of lies to you there because you're thinking, okay, good, I'm almost there. And you wait and you wait and you wait and you go have lunch and you come back. And then finally it's rebooted again. And this is the one that's important. If you want to see this screen here, because this is where you'll see the percentage, not the time, but a percentage. The percentage represents you're actually installing OpenCore. This is where the process of installing OpenCore Legacy Patcher, or OpenCore Auto Patcher as they call it. If you don't see the percentage screen, it's just going to go back to the setup screen. This is what happened to me on the iMac. It didn't work. But for the most part, if you're paying attention and you're looking at your screen, you can't, it's like watching grass grow. You want to make sure you see the percentage screen and follow it through, because this is, like I said, this is where it's actually installing OpenCore to your internal drive. And move on to the next slide here. And voila, there we are. We've arrived to continue installing the OS. We've actually arrived at the setup screen on our internal drive. And like I said, if everybody's bought a Mac, everybody's gone through this when they get it out of the box. You can just go through, do all your settings, pick your Wi-Fi, so forth and so on. I didn't do a screenshot of every box that pops up. Once again, agree and agree and agree, And then you're going to have to create an account, which a lot of times, unless you want to do data migration, you can put your name there or whatever. And like I said, unless you want to do a data migration, which I've only done a couple of times. Basically, for the most part, these older Macs, I just start clean. I just create the account, put my name in there, and go from there. I don't try to, migrate everything that was on the drive previously. Pardon me? Well, there is another step. If you do want to do a data migration, unfortunately, what you do have to do is you have to temporarily remove, it's an extra step. People have said you don't have to do it, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but you basically have to uninstall the patcher and then reinstall the patcher after you do the data migration, because when you do the data migration, it applies some data that screws up your patch. So you basically have to remove it, and then you have to, and there's steps that are illustrated in the videos that I'm not going to go through here, but for the most part, it's easier if you just wipe the drive, create a new OS, and then you're up to your login screen. You're going, wow, man, it's worked. You did it. So now you're going to log in with the password that you created, and then you're going to get this very important box that's going to say, it has detected that you are booting OpenCore from a USB drive. Would you like to boot your Mac normally without the USB drive? And once again, like I said, just read the prompts. It's going to follow through and tell you exactly what to do. And a cool little thing happened to me while I was installing Monterey. You can see, look what popped up in the upper right-hand corner. Gee, it's telling me I can upgrade to Sonoma now. And I'm, so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, wow. I'm just going to stick with what I've got right now, and then we can experiment later as far as, and you don't want, I have loaded Sonoma on a 2017, which we just talked about, if you had a 2017 or older. I have a 21.5-inch iMac that was a 2017, and I can only go up to Ventura, and with OpenCore, obviously I took it up to Sonoma. So yeah, there you go. Your 2017 is not obsolete, even though it's 7 years later, and Apple doesn't allow you to upgrade it, but through OpenCore you can upgrade it.
But it's still running at the same speed.
It's going to still run at the same speed, yeah, exactly. But I think you'll be surprised, because when I boot this Mini up and actually show you a live demonstration of this old Mini booting into Monterey, I think you'll be surprised how snappy it is. So then you read, the next little box comes up. It says, finish building the OpenCore configuration. Would you like to install OpenCore to your internal disk? Well, yeah, obviously you do. So you click install to disk. And then you pick, obviously you want to pick the internal disk at this point in time, which is not selected in this slide, but you do want to select, excuse me. Yes, it's not the correct disk is not selected in this particular slide. You want to make sure you're clicking the in this case, it's the SanDisk SSD 512 gigabyte. So you don't want to put it back on the USB. You want to put it on the internal drive. So make sure you click your internal drive. What happens is that I wasn't able to do a screen capture of this because as soon as you click it, it's no longer on the screen, so I couldn't do a screen capture. So I basically had to take a picture of the default, and that's where it came up. Like I said, so I couldn't do a screen capture because as soon as I click disk 0, that disappears off the screen, so I couldn't do a screen capture. So I apologize for that. So then you go and you want to install OpenCore into your internal EFI partition. So you follow that. Fortunately, you only have one thing to pick, and you do that. And then it says reboot to apply. Now also, if you want to make sure that you read the instructions, it says you will need to reboot. Hold down the Option key and then select OpenCore EFI, not the USB drive, but the EFI internal. So then you go through that, and now it looks a little bit different. The logo looks, now you got two of them. And you don't want to click on the right one, you want to click on the left one. This is your internal EFI partition. So, I mean, you're there, you are there. So you click on that EFI partition, and now you're booting up, and here's a MacBook. This is actually a screen capture off of I got that in the box too. A mid-2009 MacBook Pro now running Monterey. I brought 3 machines with me, and I can show you my successes. So this is a snap of the fellow's YouTube channel. Like I said, this is more than helpful. This is one of the first things that, if you're interested in doing this is one of the first places I'd visit when you get home. Go to YouTube and look up Mr. Macintosh and subscribe to his YouTube channel. This is another thing, I haven't done this yet, but I know that it works and I do want to do it. But for the most part, if you just want to test to see if it's going to work on your machine, you don't really want to destroy the data, on your Mac, you can actually install that newer OS on a partition, or you can install it up on a USB startup drive. So you do have those options. So, if it's critical, that you need to leave the existing OS on there, you can create a partition and then install OpenCore to that partition. And this video is very detailed and describes, it's 42 minutes long. So it's, you have to, just bear with it, So for the most part, here's my successes. A 2009 Mac Mini, 2009 MacBook, actually I had 2 of those. I have 2 2009 MacBook Pros, 15 inches. I did one for a friend. A 2010 Mac Pro Tower, okay? It's a 5,1 2010 Mac Pro Tower running Monterey. 2011, okay. 2012 MacBook Air, which I have in the box. 2012 Mac Mini, which I have underneath my TV set at the house. And the 27-inch 2012 iMac, which I have on a desk at the house. And a 2015 MacBook Pro. It's that one. The 2015 you could only upgrade to Monterey. I upgraded this one to Sonoma. So this is one of them that I did take up, the 2015 MacBook Pro to Sonoma very easily. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I think you'll be when I boot up some of these demo machines. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This is actually the website. It's called Open Collective. I'm so happy and so pleased with the software, and it's worked so well. It shows you here that it says with this software that these guys created, these smart programmers, you now can apply OpenCore to 83 unsupported Mac models and run the latest Mac OS. 83 unsupported Mac. And I think that's just an awesome figure. You think, 83 Macs that are obsolete, I can now run the latest OS on it. I mean, how great is that? And this is some of the newer models that it shows here. This little scale shows some of the additional models that they've recently added to that list. So here's how you can contribute. Basically, you go to the Open Collective OpenCore Legacy Patcher part of Open Collective, and then you begin your donation. Right now I'm at the, I'm a little stingy, but I do want to move up to the $9, but right now I'm at the $3, but anything helps. I mean, it's nice that you contribute to these guys because they work really hard, and they do regularly update this software. So for the most part, there.
Subscription price?
No, it's basically a donation, and you can donate through PayPal or.
It's a single donation.
It's a single donation. It's not tax deductible. But
You can get a schedule one too, monthly.
yes, yeah. Or you can just give a flat donation. You can give them a couple $100 if you want. If you really, want to do that. I mean, you'll notice that they list the people that make the donations to OpenCore, and I think they've made $38,000 or something like that.
So what are the drawbacks?
Pardon me?
What are the drawbacks?
Well, the drawbacks are you have to read the directions. You have to be patient. You have to understand that it may not work. I was so frustrated with this 2008 iMac that it's just like, okay, I'm not going to give up. I am just not going to give up. Man, I wiped that drive and, tried, okay, I'm going to install Big Sur. Okay, I'm going to install Monterey. Okay, I'm just going to shoot in the dark and see if I can actually put Sonoma on this thing. And it just would not do it. I looked at it on YouTube to see if I could find a video, and it tells you, yeah, you can go in there and kind of modify the EFI and do this. I haven't done that yet, but it's like, I don't want to give up because I've had successes on every machine except for the one I wanted to do and bring down here and actually do a live demo of, the 2008 iMac. So for the most part, that slide reflected kind of what I hope you do. I hope everybody gets excited and goes home and please can hardly wait till you get home.
What's great about this too is that one of the things that people warn you about is that if you have old hardware, the possibility that you get some kind of virus or malicious.
This way it provides more.
Newer stuff,
Right.
you still have your own and be safe.
Right.
This is a great idea.
Yeah, this will raise your security, obviously, and that's what you want to do by installing a newer OS on your older machine.
Upgrade with the future upgrades without doing anything special?
You'll be able to, so long as it's an Intel machine. It doesn't work right now with, of course, none of the Apple Silicon processors are out of date, but it only works on Intel machines. So, pardon me? No PowerPC, no PowerPC. If you want to use PowerPC, I'm not sure what you'd actually use, but yeah, as long as it's an Intel machine made 2008, actually doesn't cover any Intels in 2007, oddly enough, because I do have a 2007 MacBook that I looked and it's not even on the chart. So it's like, okay, I guess that's their, they go back to 2008 as far back as they go.
And I have a 2012 MacBook Pro.
There you go. You're going to go all.
SSD drive in it.
Yes.
Is that going to be an issue?
Oh, no, SSD is really the preferred drive that you're going to want to use. And what I recommend, just me personally, is just go to Ventura and try it first. And if you like what you see, you can move on up to Sonoma. Unfortunately, if you keep up with the message boards and stuff, Sonoma's still got bugs. I mean, if you can believe that, here we are at WWDC, and they're fixing to do another, pardon me? Yeah, you can still find, like you go to Adobe's website, you're subscribed to the Adobe Creative Suite, and you're reading, oh yeah, I've got, I'm running, Sonoma and Adobe Creative Suite, and you can see the list of things that.
So from out of message, I can come up with message and it tells me to log on to messages. I log on and it just spins. And then after it spins, I give up. And then maybe an hour or two later, I come back and I'm in messages.
Yeah, that's why I stopped at Ventura, and I've had good luck with Ventura. And even the YouTube videos will say, for your best experience, your best user experience. Ventura is current. Apple's still providing software updates to Ventura and Monterey at this point in time. And I think they actually did a recent update, if I'm not mistaken, to Big Sur. Pardon me?
Come on, I like being on the bleeding edge of it.
Yeah, but I would still if you're first doing this for the first time, I would stop at Ventura. I really would. I wouldn't try to go all the way to Sonoma on your first attempt to use OpenCore. I think you're going to be happy with Ventura. So basically, I'm going to stop here and plug in my my demo machines that I brought. But for the most part, there's a few more slides that I'm not going to go through that get really into detail about what OpenCore does and how it works, and now that the Macs have the system integrity SIP, how it's affected and how you turn it off or on or bypass it and so forth. I'm not going to go into any of these slides because they're far too detailed. So it's I'm going to just basically leave my presentation and boot up with the other machine here.
Well, why don't you just ask ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT, upgrade this Mac for me. Come into my house and, send a robot and do it. So if how am I going to switch to this other machine?
I guess you just unplug it, right?
Unplug your HDMI.
Okay.
You got it.
All right, so you're going to start off with a blank screen because it's not booted up yet. So I'm going to unplug that, and I'm going to plug in the Mac Mini, and I've already got it. I think everything's plugged in. The USB's plugged in. The video cable's plugged in. It's plugged into AC. Yes. So I'm going to press the button. Listen for the chime. There's the chime. All right.
Take a question while it's moving.
So now let's see what comes up on the screen. Hopefully it's searching for sources. Oh, come on, please. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Bear with me. Sooner or later, it's going to find that output, I hope. Did I plug it in right?
It's searching for all sources.
Yeah.
I saw Paul's AVP.
That's Ray. Yeah, I can see.
Oh, come on. Can you actually physically switch it says HDMI, so it should be. Oh, looky here. I plugged into the wrong.
Yeah.
I plugged into the wrong.
There you go.
Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Can you do that one? Sorry,
Yes.
my fault. My fault. It's like if you can't get a power strip to work, make sure you don't plug the power strip into the power strip. I mean, so basically, this is the reason why you weren't able to see it, because I was stupid. I plugged the HDMI back into my laptop. So there you go. Now you should be able to see it. Come on, baby. You may have to, I don't know if we have to reboot it or.
No problem.
Come on, baby. We do have it plugged in right? Yep.
There it comes. There it comes.
Okay, here we go. All right, very good. So there you are. I'm going to type in my password. And yeah, it's, this is a 2009 Mac Mini, so it's going to take a little bit to get there, but once it loads the OS, it is.
Like 15-year-old computer.
Yeah.
There it goes.
There it goes. There's your desktop.
Wow.
And it's going to come up and look at the upper right-hand corner. It popped up there very briefly because we're not attached to Wi-Fi, but it says, "Do you want to upgrade to Sonoma?" And it's like, okay, well, that's a little too soon just yet. So I'm going to go up here to
Connect to Wi-Fi.
about this Mac, and we can connect to the Wi-Fi too. But here you are we're running Monterey. I don't have the keyboard shortcut set up to zoom in, but for the most part, running Monterey on that 2009 Mac Mini. And let's see, let me see if I can join the Wi-Fi. It should pick up my hotspot, maybe. No, it doesn't. So which one?
Carrollton Public Library.
Right here. Oh, it's open. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that easy?
Okay, so wait for okay, now we got a signal. So now let's just see out of curiosity, on a 2009 Mac Mini, if we can run Zoom.
Of course. Zoom runs everything.
Oh, looky there. So I could actually I could join this meeting, on my 2009 Mac Mini. And everything is,
That was made before Zoom.
and it's just pretty amazing because here I've got Safari 15. I've got the latest version of Safari on here, and it's going to work. I mean, it is just truly amazing software.
About AirPlay.
No,
You don't have a camera on there. so-
that would be, yeah, that would be one of the drawbacks. You could put a webcam on there. Yeah, we're not gonna have video without a webcam.
We don't need to do that tonight.
But
I'm asking
for the most part, I mean, you're running, there's all your defaulted software plus a couple extra things. You got Zoom on here, TeamViewer, here's OpenCore Legacy Patcher. That's where you actually, where it loads the software. It actually puts this is an alias, and it actually puts it in your user library in a folder called Dortania. So, but that's kind of done as a safety thing because they don't want you to say, oh, what's this? And you delete it and then your Mac doesn't work anymore.
Now, you've got current apps on there.
Yeah.
How'd they get on there versus the original 2000?
Oh, because I upgraded to Monterey. I use the standard Monterey installer, and then standard Monterey installer installs all the default Monterey Mac OS apps. And then I got on Firefox or Safari, and I went and downloaded Zoom. I downloaded TeamViewer. You know, I mean, your Mac is basically running.
And did you put your pictures back on and your?
I'm not
documents
logged
back
in.
on?
I'm not logged into the Apple ID. I mean, you could certainly do that. I've done just basically for demonstration purposes. So I'm not actually using these in a production, but but you could actually do that.
And that's 2009.
Yeah, it's a 2009. So here, I'm still trying to open Firefox. I'm sorry. I'm slowing it down. I'm overtaxing the machine here by trying to do too many things at once on a 2009 Mac Mini. But it's a usable environment. I mean, you've got a machine now that's, like Lawrence was saying, that's current as far as security is concerned. Here's Firefox, and you can see that we're actually running, I think, the latest version of Firefox. Yep, we're up to date at version 126, I think it is. Yeah, so we're going to update. We're running the current version of Firefox on that 2009 Mac Mini, which I think is just, I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, I just really am blown away. And this one went through with no hitches. I mean, this one just worked well right off the bat. So I'm going to hook up. If you want to see, I've got two other machines in here. I've got this old beat up. Lawrence gave me this. This was his friend's old MacBook Pro. This is running Monterey. I forget what, 2009. I think it's 2009. Yeah.
something like
2009 running Monterey, MacBook Pro. And then I have also in here, I have a 2013 MacBook Air running Ventura. And I can put them up there if y'all want to see them. But I brought them along just in case anybody really wanted to see how they work. But I've been successful.
OpenCore Legacy Patcher.
Pardon me?
What'd you,
I think Paul had something to say.
Okay.
I was talking to Sari, and what I wondered was, supposing you have a new machine, you want to run an old operating system. Will this do that too, or is it running only for running old operating systems on the new?
It
Running
depends on
new operating systems on the old computers.
you can. This is basically for running newer software on older computers. The presentation that I made previously to the group was what they call an emulation. It's an emulation demo, where what I was saying we were doing just in reverse, where I loaded older software on a newer computer, where I went back as far as System 7, I think, System 6, I think. So you're running, an old PowerPC, OS on your latest Mac through these different emulation programs that I demonstrated a couple of years ago or whatever. And I know that Taylor has mentioned that he wants to see that demo again. Because, I launched I think like the first version of FileMaker Pro on System 7, I think, or something like that. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Dark Castle that made Taylor's Day.
Yeah, Dark Castle. Yeah, and I don't know that anybody probably noticed on that MacBook Pro when I had it up and on the screen, I did have all the emulators across the bottom of the screen that you can download. There's a wonderful website. If you are interested in running older software on a newer Mac, go to Emaculation. Be careful how you say that, but Emaculation that's the site that will actually let's bring it up. Let's go to Emaculation. Just show you what it looks like. This is where you can learn to load and download that older software. Okay.
And that's a regular hard drive?
This is an SSD in here, yeah. Did I spell it right? Okay, so Emaculation. Okay, here we go. So there you go. This is the site. If you're interested, I'm sorry, who am I talking to?
Taylor or Paul?
Paul. Okay, so this is what if you want to do that, these are the emulators over here on the left-hand side, Sheep Shaver, Basilisk, you can even run System 6 on a virtual Mac through, and I think we're out of time, but well, actually, we do have time because
we can go till 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we're good till 1 o'clock. So I could show you.
Does this run on Apple?
This
Silicon?
this will run on. It won't run on. I'm not sure. I know Sheep Shaver has been updated to run on Apple Silicon. I don't know if Basilisk has been updated to run on Apple Silicon. We can actually look and see if we go to the Sheep Shaver.
Sure.
And let's see, runs in Windows, Linux. So for Sheep Shaver, for the, let's see, go to this site. And let's see if we can do this. Okay, let's see. I think it says on that fourth or fifth line down, yeah, ARM64. So here's where it shows that actually Sheep Shaver is, I think my little mouse ball is not working. So for the most part, here you go right here. You can actually run version 2.5 that was built in February of 2024. So you can run it on Apple Silicon right there.
Wow. Yeah.
So there you can go back to System 7 for the most part in this old software. So, and I do this for fun. I mean, I don't use it for any real purpose other than just to please myself. But for the most part, these are the emulators that you would use to run your System 7 through 8. Sheep Shaver runs up to System 9, from 7 to 9. And then this one is System 6. This emulates an old 68,000. It's emulating like a 128K. Works very well. And QEMU, I think actually will run on Apple Silicon now.
Nope. But I see.
Oh yeah, it's PowerPC. No. Anyway, this is the site that you want to go to, Paul, if you're really interested in doing that. This is a little bit more difficult because you do have to seek some things out, like software, like the OSs and stuff like that. This gives you the emulator, but there's other sites that you're going to have to, and I show these in my demonstration.
Yeah, we should have a whole presentation on that. Yeah.
There's one called Macintosh Garden. And this is site here. This is where you can actually download what Taylor was talking about. You could actually go, oops, that's not the right site. Oop, wrong. Let's go to Mac repository. Okay, so here's where you could actually just type in anything you're looking for. Like Taylor mentioned Dark Castle, you can type in Dark Castle if I spelled it correctly. Yeah, there you go. So you can download old software here, and you can also download old OSs here. So if you want to get a copy of, I can't really read it from here. They even have Lisa software on here. There you go, Richard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2GS.
So yeah, Macintosh repository. I don't know why the garden didn't show up.
It's at the top.
Okay, here we go. Click the wrong one. Oh. Why not? Huh. Okay, well, it may be down temporarily, but here's another place, Internet Archive. This is another site that everybody should donate to. Macintosh Garden. Oh, that's the Macintosh Garden page, isn't it? I'm not sure what I'm getting on the screen here. That's not. Oh, it's the Macintosh Garden through Internet Archive. Sorry, it's not the Internet Archive website. That's why I was seeing it. But anyway, there's all kinds of places. Anybody, here we go right there. Somebody's having a problem. Well, we are. And when is that? That was actually in 23. So maybe Macintosh Garden's not around anymore. Oh, here it is. It's fine now. Well, it's having a problem again. But anyway, Paul, this is, if you're interested in running old software on a newer machine, this is the place to start, Immaculation. And like Taylor said, we can certainly look into a later demonstration on that.
We have August open and October open, if you're interested.
Tim, he said he's got October open
And August.
in August.
Yeah.
Either one of those are
It's,
open.
you know, it's pretty much, the presentation's already made up. I already have it in a keynote. I mean,
So which one you want?
Let's do August.
I'll leave that up to you guys, whenever, how quick you want to see it. I mean, October. Okay.
ACD.
So let me shut this one down and go back to or go to another machine, if you like, or go back to I can go back to my laptop and show you some of the emulation, I guess, is for, you know, for curiosity's sake. Whatever y'all want to see. You want to see a MacBook Pro or a Mac Air, MacBook Air?
Pro.
MacBook Pro, okay. Yeah, this one, okay, let's see. We're going to have same cord, okay. Fortunately, these old Macs use Thunderbolt, the first version of Thunderbolt, so just plug that puppy in.
I need an HDMI splitter so that I can do his HDMI on the projector and on.
So now we're booting up the 2009 MacBook Pro. I want you all to see this screen. If no, it's going to automatically boot before it comes up.
Richard, what we think we should use is, because you've done a fantastic job, but we should get a camera and plug it into that.
Separate camera?
That we can point to that.
Just get a webcam, yeah, and put
That's
it
what
on
I'm
a
saying, but
tripod.
get one that can sit on the desk. So I think we get one for $29 or $30 a day. They're not that expensive.
But if I can just take the HDMI source and put it to that and this at the same time, then that would solve that problem.
So it's coming up already. It's not,
What problem are you are you saying both?
So I don't have to point this at the screen.
okay, for some reason,
What would you,
Could.
you wouldn't use your
I guess
camera.
it's actually
you would
using it
use
as an
your,
extended display, because there's my login screen. So I need
Mama
to,
wouldn't want you, oh, I guess you gotta have it, don't you?
let me see if I can,
Yeah, you gotta have it, okay. But I was thinking with a camera, you could just, leave it there and tell it,
Point the camera to it.
and point the camera at anybody in the whole room.
That's true too.
And then you don't have to, but you can still use your computer, because you just tell it that don't use your camera on the computer, but use your, out of the camera.
this machine Lawrence gave to me, you can see the keyboard doesn't work well and the sound doesn't work, and I guess he tried to operate on it or something.
Yeah, EA put a new keyboard in it. And
I was actually running Linux, a copy of Linux on this. Okay, for some reason, it's not. Let me go back to Mirror here and see if I can.
So did I hear you right? The way to do this is to erase the original drive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
We got to get all my data off before I do that.
So here we go. Here is the, I think it's a 2009, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2009, mid-2009, 15, running Monterey. Pretty cool, huh? And this is another machine that I had no problem with.
Oh, Richard, I just woke up. the splitter would split what's going in out of there and
of there.
also coming into here.
In here and in here.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I got you. I'm a little slow.
Would you be able to use a time machine to back, bring your data back?
Yeah, I'm gonna get on the network here and see if I can get on the Carrollton Library. I don't think that, obviously, I don't think anybody's got a time machine on the network here, but we'll see. I mean, if it's built into Monterey, then yeah, there is time machine. So all you gotta do is select a backup disk and you're ready to rock.
That's another question I want to ask about. I have the latest version. Time Machine used to be up in the,
You can put it up there.
I have
Right here
not,
where it says show time machine and menu bar.
I have not seen
If I
that
click
in the
that,
newest version
now
of the operating
Now it's
system.
up there, it's right there.
Yeah, but I've got the latest. What's the latest?
This is Monterey, so it's 2 down from the
No,
latest.
no, but it used to be able to do that. When I went to Sonoma, I can't get that to work. I can't get it to come up.
Well, I'll bring back up my laptop here in a second. And
Yeah,
we can-
show it to
we can
me.
look at that, but for the most part, I mean, this is a way you can use obsolete technology. I mean, really, I'm just blown away by how well it works. I mean, have you all seen any real lags? I mean,
No.
in the performance?
That's
Look at
good.
there, look at
That
there.
is fast.
I could try Sonoma on this 2009, which I might do, but not right now. And also, I do want to say that you can try to do an in-place upgrade. They do not recommend it. It can be done, and I think people have actually done it successfully, but they actually recommend that you build another OpenCore Legacy Patcher boot USB drive with Sonoma on it and do the same thing. And basically, you want to do a backup of what you put on your Ventura drive or your Monterey drive, and then reinitialize the internal drive and load Sonoma that way through the USB, and then migrate your stuff back. And you can, and I know that I said earlier about, show you how simple it is to basically remove the patches. You basically launch OpenCore Legacy Patcher if you want to do a data migration. The right way to do it is where it says right here, you go to post install patch. It's going to tell you if all the patches have been installed. So it says right here, all applicable patches are already installed. So I could actually I can revert and remove what it applied, do my data migration, and then come back and repatch it with, this app. So